Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another Crypto Maniacs podcast, streaming for your viewing pleasure on YouTube. We're also on Twitter and even on Facebook because, there's some of us that are old and still use Facebook, like me. But the best news before we get going, Task, is that this amazing new streaming platform we're using, StreamYard, allows me to download the recording. So last week we got the recording back up on 3Speak. Hallelujah. Good news.
So, that is good news.
How you doing, man? How was your weekend? You ready for the bull market?
Sure.
Are you ready for the bear market?
Price. I watch price as much as I check my Discord notifications.
Yes. Fun news and for everyone.
So that ought to tell you how little attention I pay to price. It's like half time I don't even go to CoinGecko and I miss my candies. Like shit, I haven't been here in 3 days.
What is that? What is candies? Can you explain?
It's a internal token from CoinGecko. CoinMarketCap has their own thing too. And you show up each day, you sign up with your email, and then you log in, and there's a little candy looking thing. You click on it and you press it, and the first day you get 10, the second day you get 20, 30, 40, 50, then 100. So that's 7 days, and then it goes back to 10. Now, if you miss a day, if you do 10, 20, 30, and you miss a day, when you log back in 2 days later, you're going to be back at 10. And the candies, there's not really much utility to them other than maybe some things on their platforms, buying their reports and stuff like that. So, who knows? I've been collecting them for years. I got like 40,000. Who knows if they'll ever do anything with them or whatever, but it's
like a faucet.
Yeah, except it's not a it's not a tradable token. So it's not traded on any market or anything. It's a platform token that you get for showing up each day and clicking the button, and obviously from CoinGecko, the incentive is to come and, help their click rate and all that other stuff. It's right next to your portfolio on CoinGecko. And, I very rarely get the 100 because I'm very rarely on there 7 days in a row. And that's where all the pricing is for these tokens. So shows you how little I pay attention to them. I mean, most of the token pricing I get is, when I'm on Threads or something, I see somebody, put in the Leo or put in Bitcoin or put in, whatever symbol, and, there's the price. And it's like, oh, okay. So Leo's back to 6 cents or Hive's at 34 cents. Oh, okay.
Well, Leo, if you know, is a stable coin because it's been 6 cents for months now. So,
yeah, well, it's I just the reason why I was a couple minutes late is I was just finishing up a post, and yeah, well, there's not much buy demand, but there's also no sell pressure.
I buy them every day, but I'm kind of psychotic. So.
It's I mean, you know me, Django. I have opposing views to what most of the masses see in terms of money and finance and how things operate. And, understanding what Leo is, it's a value capture token. And building the value, and value is different than price. Markets are shitty at valuing anything, they suck at it. But you keep building the value, and then one thing Leo's doing is establishing buy streams. There's the HP, there's now the premium membership by Leo, and starting tomorrow, the smart contract we're told is going to go live for the ad revenue. And whatever the numbers are, it doesn't matter the numbers. I mean, I think like 7,000 Leo were bought with the first batch of premium membership. Every 500 HBD, they go and buy, 250 HBD worth of Leo and 250 HBD worth of Hive. that's 7,000, okay, 7,000 with 15 or 16 million. Okay, it's not huge, but it's a starting point. It gives us a baseline. And, I think in the next week or so, we'll probably be at another 500 HBD. So it'll go purchase again. And that's, the important thing. But what I really wrote the article about is the liquidity thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's where your utility for these really come into play is to get liquidity. And that's why with so much of it staked, it's not going to take a whole lot because people are staking, I think, for a variety of reasons. One is long term hodlers, two is for curation, and three is I think people have been staking in anticipating of the ad revenue and part of the ad revenue being distributed to Leo Power holders. And so, there's incentive to buy and hold. And, with that, it makes liquidity very difficult in the sense of, yes, liquidity in terms of USD. But, if you want to get 50,000 Leo, good luck. I mean, it's going to, that's only what, 3 grand? And how long would it take you to get 3 grand off Hive Engine?
Ask Eliana. She'll tell you that right now. She's going through that right now, trying to get stuff off of Hive Engine. Speaking of Hive Engine, what a cluster that is. Like, just an absolute. Like, apparently now they've added this new warning to the bottom that says, hey, you're in Q30 of withdrawals and deposits. Like, this is brand new. Eliana just told me this just before we got on air. And I went and checked, and lo and behold, there's this little notice now if you click deposit or withdrawal that gives you a Q number for whatever reason. So this is just, Hive is decentralized, folks. Hive Engine is not decentralized.
No, it's not. And
It's
that's why
terrifying.
That's why when I've been writing about and people have gone after Vaultec, and if you read what Vaultec wrote in the latest, I guess it was the update to the proposal, they put out a post the other night, or I saw it the other night. I don't remember exactly when it was posted, but Vaultec went right after that, and he says, we need to bring the ability. He was talking about the wrapped BTC. We need to bring decentralized wrapped BTC to Hive, understanding that there's BTC swap or whatever it's called. But he says that's centralized. It's a honeypot, and it is. So even Cal mentioned that today. He talked to Vaultec at Hive Fest. I've been banging on Cal's head to pay attention for a year, but anyway. I just have a feeling that once that goes live, that's going to be the go-to for all these projects.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, but Vaultec is very smart. He's approaching it a smart way, and it's not only him. Him and Disregard are working together on certain things, and they're tied to Speak, but not. I mean, it's separate, but there's certain areas that Honeycomb and VSC are kind of complementary on. So there's a lot of cool stuff taking place.
Before we jump into people's questions on threads, let's get your opinion of the AMA. I tuned in a little bit, but I was on the road earlier, so I couldn't get a full gist of everything. Do you want to give listeners an overview of the AMA? Any news, gossip, scandal coming out?
Well, half of it was on Thorchain. I mean, Cal went on and on and on about Thorchain.
Do you have any rune, sir?
No, I don't even know how to buy fucking rune.
Yeah, same here. I have no idea.
It was a very uneventful AMA, honestly. I think the big thing is, speaking of Thorchain, Cal has been involved with that for so long. He knows some of the key players in that. And I think ultimately you're going to see B Leo, because Thorchain evidently is now compatible with BSC. I think ultimately you're going to see B Leo on there and maybe B Hive. So that'll be an added bonus. Really, it was an AMA that the smart contract I asked twice, and Cal kind of mentioned it. Well, so I don't forget. Yeah, it'll go live, but you're not going to see anything anyway for a couple days. The UI is going to take a couple days to update because he said you really need data or it does no good to have the UI update. So nothing will show. So they got to run the smart contract for a couple days to then feed the UI. And so maybe over the weekend or something or next week, the UI will be updated. And I guess there'll be a dashboard or something. I don't know what's going to be on there. So that was kind of interesting. The post to thread feature for premium, that post to thread storm, that is probably going to be next week. That was put live. Cal said everything was put live for about 3 seconds, and there's 3 features that were taken down because they were just too buggy. And one was the post to thread storm. It was just screwed up. So they're debugging that. So that's going to be in another week or so. Really, I didn't find today to be very enlightening. It was just there was nothing new really to it. Which is kind of surprising considering tomorrow is the first. So, but evidently the smart contract will be turned on at some point tomorrow. I'm sure Cal will send out a thread when it does happen. That is, I think it's a monumental moment for 2 reasons, and let me explain it this way. Reason number 1 is just so Cal can say, "See, we fucking did it." No, and you laugh, but it's like
no,
it's
but I
part of that.
I agree.
This is what we're going to do. We did it, and it was 2 years in the talking and 3 years in the making or whatever. But once it goes live, it's live. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, much like the premium, sets a baseline. I don't give a shit what the number is. I don't care. We got 50 premiums. I know it's higher, but let's say we got 50 premium subscriptions this month. Fine. Next month, go for 60, go for 70, go for 90, go for whatever. Increase. I don't care if the ad revenue brings in, $100. Fine. First month, $100. Let's go for 125 or 150. It doesn't matter, but at least you're live. At least it sets the baseline, and you can work on growing. And then, you can sit there and start being, well, maybe not you. I could sit there and start being a dick to people and say, you wanted it, you got it. Now shut up and start utilizing the platform and stop being a jackass. 10x your activity. It's all right there. Now, I think another thing is, and this isn't the community's fault, it's the project team's fault. You got the fucking CoinZilla's blank half the time. And, maybe that is some to do with where you live, but, they got to rectify that. You cannot have a bunch of people all over the world, and most of them are getting a blank CoinZilla. You need ads. You get paid for ads. You want ad revenue. You need ads. So get something with ads. And, well, CoinZilla pays the best. Not if it's blank. So, I don't know. Maybe AdSense wouldn't allow it because we're too small. But, either way, it's like they got to do something. And ultimately, I know they're going to build their own platform. I mean, that only makes sense. So it's just another piece of the process.
You said it best, man. I mean, I think that's how you scale, and a lot of projects, I think, go for, the grand slam before hitting a couple bunt singles first. And that's always how I always approach things. Like, okay, you got 100 subscribers this month. Let's try to plus one, man. Get one new person a day. So at the end of the month, you have 130. Now, attrition happens, of course. But if you're always growing and you're thinking like that, you're not trying to 10x it. You're just trying to get a little chunk more than you had the day before. And if you do that, good things happen. So this is a huge plus one, in my opinion. Excuse me, dog. Please stop barking. Well, so yeah, let me mute while the dog is freaking out. Yeah.
What I haven't decided whether I'm going to put this in a post or not, Django, or what I'm going to do. But I don't think people on Hive truly understand network effects. And I don't think they truly understand how the digital world works. And that nothing you do is linear. Nothing is linear. So I don't care how you analyze it, there's many different ways. But you take a thread, just a single thread, you put up a thread, there's the potential of another transaction in terms of somebody commenting on it, somebody rethreading it, somebody voting it, somebody copy pasting it, taking a picture, whatever, putting it on social media. That's a number of different ways. Just one single thread can be utilized. And then you start to get into posts. And I'm really seeing this with Leo Glossary. Because as I put together a page and as I start using the same page and linking the same page over and over again. Now, keep in mind, in Leo.io ranks for shit. It ranks for crap because it's new, it's a transition, right. It's just garbage.
Yeah.
And so I'll go look and I'll do a search or something, and Wavio will appear, Peak Deal will appear. But see, some of what I'm doing is I'm actually getting in Leo.io to be the number one ranked. Now, that's not like the number one ranked on blockchain or cryptocurrency. You know, I'm being very specific with what I'm looking for. So it's not a highly sought term. But the point being is now that is enhancing the entire rating of in Leo because now Google sees something. And this is where I don't think people understand. And they're all over on Twitter giving the network effect to Elon and saying, oh, well, we got to do this because we got to try to get people over to Hive. Fuck, you've been doing it for 3 years and look at our numbers. It's time to take a different approach. Well, we're shadow banned. You know, if we had, I guarantee you, if there was 50 to 75,000 threads a day on Leo, it'd be a much different realm because there'd be so much freaking activity going on that everybody on Hive would have to join in because they wouldn't want to miss out on it. Mm-hmm. You know, but you know, I guarantee you that in total, these people are doing 50,000 things on Twitter a day. They're upvoting, they're retweeting, they're posting, they're doing all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's also part and due, well, a few things. One, you know, the majority of Hive still isn't on Leo. They, for whatever reason, they won't come over. They won't use it.
Well, they don't.
Even within my community, like trying to get people within the CTP community to come over and use threads all the time. It's like pulling teeth. Like I try to tell people, hey, come and engage. I'll upvote you. I'll give you a free crypto. Like, my gosh. And it's just crickets. So
yeah, I'm not even saying threads necessarily. I'm talking, you know, in general. We've talked about comments over the years. It's you know, it's just they don't do it, and you know, it's the proof's in the pudding. You know, I sit there and say, people say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, no, I do. You don't, because you keep doing the same stupid shit and end up in the same stupid situation. It's like what you're doing is not fucking working. You know, we've been at the same user level on Hive forever. You know, now could the Zealy campaign help? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sold on that idea, but you know, I'm not averse to it either. But at least they take a little bit different approach. But you know, it's like you got all these people who sit on Discord and Twitter all the time. Well, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, it's products of your product. You have to be a product of the product. And if you're, you know, and it's funny because, you know, Ed just put up there, what was Hive marketing like last year? I think that right there shows the problem with Hive is that we were trying to promote the blockchain, and there's still lots of great endeavors being put out there, but I think it's the wrong way to approach it. It should be and this is nothing new. If you listen to this podcast, you'll hear me and Tass talk about this all the time. The way to promote this is the apps. Leo promotes Leo first. Hive is a byproduct of it. The benefits to Hive is a byproduct of it. But Cal's not out there going Hive, Hive, Hive. He's out there going Leo, Leo, Leo. And I think that Splinterlands doesn't go Hive, Hive, Hive. Splinterlands goes Leo, Leo, or the Splinterlands. Oh, I wish they said Leo, Leo, Leo. But they say Splinterlands, Splinterlands. It's the apps that need to market themselves, not the blockchain. The blockchain is just like you always say. It's like Netflix advertising Amazon Web Services.
It's not going to happen. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. Do you think anybody cares if if Twitter owns their own servers, or if he puts all Twitter on AWS? And quite frankly, I don't know the answer. I don't really give a crap either. But I don't know. I presume Twitter owns their own servers, but maybe they don't. Maybe they Amazon it. Who knows? But I mean, who really cares? Do you really care about your city sewage system? You only care if it doesn't work. Outside that, you don't give a shit about it, literally.
You want to make sure when you flush that toilet, it goes away into the magical nether regions.
Yeah, but you don't really care other than that. As long as it does that, you don't give it a second thought. And that's what it is. It's the plumbing. And that's the other reason why, you get, there's one person in particular. He's really fucking clueless. Infrastructure is the most boring thing in the world. It's also the slowest thing in the world. And, look at what happens in your own town when they have to rip up a sewer line. It's a mess for days. They rip up the street. They rip up the sidewalks. I mean, it's just a real nightmare. Mm-hmm. That's what infrastructure is. That's what Block Trades does. That's what Howu does. That's what Speak Network's working on. And you only have to listen to Dan and Starkers, especially Starkers. He'll tell you flat out. He said, if I had known what I know now 2.5 years ago, it's the old adage, I might not have done it. It's just, and that's really what it comes down to. But when you start to look at the app level, the network effects happen at the app level. The ecosystem network effects happen because of the apps. But again, if you have people not using the stuff, people don't realize how everything multiplies in the digital world. The internet is nothing more than a huge copying system, and everything multiplies. You never know what will go viral. You never know what will show up. You never know what will get shared. You never know what get passed around, retweeted, rethreaded, reblogged, whatever. You just don't know. And the mechanisms typically to do that, how hard is it to retweet something? How hard is it to rethread something? How hard is it to copy a URL and drop it into a tweet? How hard is it to take something, throw it on your Facebook wall if you have that? The tools are there. It's very simple to do. Now, all of a sudden, that one location turned into 5 locations because you and 4 other people, re-whatevered it. That's what happens.
Well, that's viral marketing, old school term right there, right? So we've got a big announcement too, on a personal level, not only with the smart contract going out, but I promise we are going to get to everyone's questions right now, but we got to do a little shameless self-promotion and public service announcement. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, is the second town hall meeting for the town hall witness in the community on Hive. So please, please, please set your alarm clocks if it's on another side of the planet that you're in. Forex broker talking to you, man. But 11 a.m. Eastern, I'm not sure what time that is. That's actually a question in the threadcast today. Like, do you guys know, what time zone? It's like,
Have
North
you ever heard
American
of
people
Google?
operate in Eastern time and Pacific time like that. Yeah.
What the? I see that all the time. It's like, well, can you provide a converter? Go to Google and say, what time is 11 Eastern time in, whatever your time zone is,
Right.
Greenwich Mean Time or whatever. I don't think you're going to see Forex Broker because if I'm not mistaken, he's 15 hours ahead of me now. So that would put him exactly at 2 a.m. when that
2
thing
a.m.
starts. Um,
Well,
I don't, if my math is right on that, I think they're 15 hours ahead. Um, no, he's probably going to be looking at the inside of his eyelids at that point.
right.
But
Yeah.
it is on Spaces, so if you can tune in, certainly do that. A lot of the application
Are
are
coming
going to
out.
be represented, and also John Go mentioned at hyphen town hall is the account. There is a Hive witness server. Please, if you do have a witness vote, consider us for that. This is a community initiative. There is not only our second town hall within the last 48 hours, we have gotten a VSC witness node going. That will be a VSC testnet node when that is opened up. We are looking at potentially opening up another node on Speak Network and doing some things there. Django and a Nomad Soul are working on some fucking thing. I don't even know where it is, but see, before I said the notifications in Discord, all this shit takes place in Discord. There's a Discord we set up that we talk back and forth. I pay about 1/10 attention. So John Goen and Nomad Soul are building something. I don't know where they're building it. I honestly don't know what they're building, although it looks pretty neat. So it is a communication initiative. So at the proper time, there will be an announcement, I'm sure, in the town hall, a blog post talking about it. And John Go was primarily behind that with the Nomad Soul. So it's all about the education. It's all about the communication. It's all about the information. It's all about infrastructure. And so in return, please, will you consider us for witness? We are up and running and we are not powering it down. We just keep accumulating. And of course, that will be used to curate people who are involved in the initiatives that we're involved in, and also, a community initiative to really fill in the cracks, as I said the other night, between the applications and the blockchain, because a lot of this stuff talking about governance or the different apps in general and things of that nature, app people who are involved in these different projects are focused on their projects as they should be, and they're not focused on high governance or education or communication or stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Ready to dive in?
Yeah.
Let's get into your fun-filled questions. Let me make sure I'm in the right tab. Do we see it? Please hold. There we go. Let me just see which one. Yeah, we'll do it this one. This one here. I know, Task, you can't see this to save your life, but I'll read it out for you. Sounds good?
That's the only way we're going to get to them. I'm lucky I can do a great cast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anderson says, doesn't have any questions for tonight. Just wanted to say rock on. Going to enjoy the show tomorrow since it's nighttime over here. Soul Ye Me said the universal time format tool so I can see the times in my time zone. Google. University of Google. Google University.
I mean, again, what time is 11 Eastern in? Fill in your time zone and Google throw up a clock. They'll throw it up.
Yep.
And they'll probably throw a bunch of different sites that you could just use too.
Yeah. And is it going to be on Twitter Spaces? No, this is on Twitter, though. We are streaming on Twitter, but they did some different stuff this past week. I was actually trying to tune into the Spaces version of Leo today, and the AMA wasn't on Spaces. It was a live stream, just like this was. So, again, I'm
No,
not the space.
spaces.
What's that?
It was a space.
Well, I didn't. I had the video version. Like there was a video going on
Oh
when I
yeah,
clicked it.
yeah.
Yeah.
They do it on. They do YouTube. They do
Yeah. Like this.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways. Free compliments up with a few questions. Based on your knowledge of Three Speaks developments, do you think it would ever be possible to have a two-way or multi-way live video chat system? If it's possible, could smart contracts be added to have an option for public versus private chats? Well, I think that can work, the public and private chats. You just need the memo key. If I assume, am I
Well,
assuming
I
correctly?
don't know much about that type of stuff, but building out communication video, I think, is very difficult. I don't know. Cal basically has taken the approach, and maybe Three Speak has done this too. I don't know. Do we really need to build all this stuff from scratch, or just incorporate what's out there into it? I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, it's Vim was a nice thing. The problem with Vim is it was streaming, but that was it. You couldn't save your stuff.
Well,
Uh,
they tried to, but it didn't. They couldn't afford it, right? I mean, because that's
yeah.
a lot of
So
money for storage, right? So,
yeah. So when you start to look at maybe IPFS, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's all possible, but again, it's going to go back to who's building this stuff. It's disregards busy.
mm,
Voltec's busy. It's everybody sits there and wants stuff, and this is where I keep going back to. Even of those of us who are not technical. I mean, I couldn't build you a website. I couldn't build you a widget to put in a
mhm,
website. But that doesn't mean that I can't build on Hive. And the percentage of people building stuff on Hive is minimal, even of the non-technical people. So we have technical people who are up to their eyeballs, and this is in the bear market. It's only going to get worse in the bull market because then all of a sudden they have other options. So then you got projects scrambling around looking for developers because all of a sudden one developer leaves because he says, well, I'm getting 40% more from this other project to go work on their stuff.
right.
So that's how that goes. um, but I don't know enough about the video infrastructure to say for certain that. I mean, I guess it's possible. What was written there by Free Compliments logically sounds possible to me, but
Yeah.
I don't have the knowledge technically to say yay or nay.
There we go. Follows it up with, what features do you think would be ideal addition to the threads right now? Which features do you find unnecessary? Or look at that, vestigial. Wow, that's quite the Scrabble word. Um, this is the thing, and Task, I might upset you here. I know I'm not going to upset the majority of people on threads right now, though. I just want a minimum viable product that works all the time. Now there's going to be bugs. I expect that. But this is a big reason why I think a lot of people still haven't totally embraced threads on Leo, because a lot of the stuff doesn't work. And when it does work, it seems to break right away. Now, a lot of this has got to do with the Hive node, which Cal put out there and said, they got the Leo node within a week or something like that. That's going to fix a whole bunch of stuff. But I don't need all the bells and whistles. This is me personally. This is just me. This isn't, because I know a lot of people love flashy stuff. I don't need all the bells and whistles. I just need something that's minimum viable product that works. When I click it, it works. It doesn't have to work 24/7, 365, but the constant things that seem to get, like, it's almost like a stumbling block. So we get some momentum going with the Zeely, something's breaking. You get something else, and it's like, and I get it. I get that it's development and it's shoestring budget, and these guys are busting their butt. but maybe we don't need all of the fancy dancy stuff right now. Maybe we just need something that's just stable right now, then grow from there, if that makes any sense. That would be my
Well, I think the question was about threads, and threads is very basic. So I agree with you. Just make the shit work. The only thing that's missing, I would think, is I think it would be cool to embed like three speak videos.
Yeah.
But in terms of that, it's microblog. Even shit that Musk is doing, he's not changing microblog. He added long form content, so that's one thing. He had subscription, so that's one thing. Um, you know, but in terms of sending out a tweet, what's really changed? You can add different themes and different color schemes. Okay, fine, wonderful. Skins, wonderful. But all that's just window dressing. What are you going to do with threads? Now, if you talk the Leo platform, okay, now you're talking a much broader scope. Now you're talking about things that could be really added that are much different. And that's what Elon is doing with the X platform. But in terms of microblogging, you're dealing with something that's rather limited, in my opinion, anyway. Um, yeah, you want to send out a thread. It's like you want to be able to embed a video in the middle of it and have the video show up. That's the stuff that get that working. Outside of that, you know, you're not talking threads anymore. You're talking Leo, in my opinion.
When's the 90s gangster rap group Cal Lion and the Taskmasters going to release their debut album?
Well, if it's a 90s rap group, then why would it be a debut album 30 years later? Wouldn't we have done something? Of course, the problem is, I don't know if Cal was even alive in the 90s.
I don't think so.
And if he was, it was just barely. So, Cal, the only thing he knows about the 90s is what he learned in history class.
Jeez, we are old, man. That was my prime, man. The 90s. 90s and early 2000s. Anyways.
Dude, the 90s weren't. I was the decade before that.
Yeah. 80s for you, huh? Wow.
That's when I was, I was in high school in the 80s. Hell, I was in college in the 80s too. Part of it. Part of college.
Forex Broker just says, "Are we rich yet?" And good morning, CryptoManiacs. Good morning, sir.
If you're alive, if you're breathing, if you're healthy, I mean, he's rich because look at his dog. Forget the dog. Look at the eyes on his dog.
Fact.
He posted a pic on Threads of that dog with the eyes looking, and that could just melt you. So, I mean, I'm very optimistic about both Hive and Leo. It's the long-term deal with this. In my view, I am not worried about either of those projects because there's development taking place.
Yeah. Good point. Forex is this is when we were talking about Leo with the value capture. Leo is a value capture token if revenue from in Leo starts going back into it through HP delegation buys, ad revenue buys, and premium buys.
Well, that's one way, but that's how you affect the market. The value is what we build on here. So, you can have the network effect taken off in the market, not realize it. I mean, markets, are markets. They could pump, they could dump, they could do whatever they do. But if we're still building and, you have 5,000 people on Leo, let's say, in a month, that's going to have a lot more value, you would think, than 1,500.
Good point. Nifty, good friend of the show, Town Hauler himself. Saw this on X. I already responded, but I'd love you guys to give this an answer. And he got a couple quotes here. So the first one is, digital ownership of your fiat is gatekept by the password to your bank account.
Well,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, who controls the ledger? I mean, your fiat currency is ledger-based money. So who controls the ledger? The banking system. What
Oh,
is the banking system? It's a bunch of interconnected ledgers. So if you bank at Bank of America, yeah, they control the ledger. It
I
actually
read
isn't even
this
controlled
wrong.
by your password.
I totally read this wrong. It's two statements and then a question. So let me rephrase it. So digital ownership of your fiat is gate kept by the password of your bank account. Digital ownership of your crypto and tokens is gate kept by your password key phrase to your wallet. And the question is this technology the future or just an iteration of our existing definition of ownership?
No, it all goes back to understanding the monetary system. And the monetary system is accounting and communication. And accounting is a ledger, communication in this day and age is a digital network. Crypto and fiat through the commercial banking system are exactly the same. It's ledger based money. There's no currency involved in this. There's no banknotes involved in this. There's no printing press involved in this. The
Right.
difference bit is who runs the ledger. The banking system, the banking cartel, to be more accurate, runs fiat currency. They run the ledgers. They run the digital networks that are all interconnected. So I can get to Forex Brokers Bank in Australia from the United States by going through a bunch of digital networks to get there. All part of the monetary system, all controlled by the banking cartel. Cryptocurrency, blockchain is different. That ledger, the Hive blockchain, let's take as an example, is run by the 120 or whatever different witness nodes. They're the ones who control the ledger. They're the ones who balance the ledger. They're the ones who make changes and update the ledger every time they produce a block. And the access is the banking system you access through your bank, which they control your access because it's through their company, it's their ledger. You access the blockchain through your private key because nobody controls the blockchain. That's the difference. So, this idea that crypto is new, what Satoshi, the major breakthrough that Satoshi had and Bitcoin was, and all attempts at electronic money, decentralized electronic money, required what they came up with before the cypherpunks was it still required centralized settlement. They couldn't get away from that. And that's what Satoshi, with the proof of work mechanism, consensus mechanism, that was the breakthrough. Suddenly, Satoshi figured out how to have settlement and consensus without any centralization. So now you have decentralized consensus, hence you have decentralized settlement because everybody agrees. And if a node goes rogue, the rest of the network will just say, "Get lost. We reject your transaction." Um, so that was the major change. Other than that, this is nothing novel. We are still dealing with ledger-based money. This is why I laugh when people like Buffett, oh, crypto's a scam. Warren Buffett, obviously, for as wealthy as he is, he's never really taken a look at what money is these days and how it's really generated, and that he's dealing with just numbers on a screen, ledger-based money. The difference is he believes and has confidence in the banking system. Those of us in crypto say the banking system, this banking cartel is nothing but a bunch of criminals, and we have a better system. So that's really the only difference. Who's controlling the ledger and how do you access it?
Good point. Sunseeker says hello. Getting back from Caracas Blockchain Week. I got to meet Starkers in person, and I'm sure his beard was glorious, and his hair. He's got a nice head of hair, right?
No, I
When
think I think Starkers is kind of heading towards our direction, isn't
well,
he?
yeah, it's kind of going back, is it a little?
I think I think he's got he's got an expanded forehead. The
Well,
guy who has
the beard is epic.
oh, the beard. He has the beard
It's on
one. I
point.
mean,
Right?
he has, I mean, that's a beautiful beard. Even if he just shaved it an hour and a half ago, he has a beautiful beard. The guy who has the hair in that situation is Dan. I mean,
It's Dan.
has,
Dan's luscious locks.
yeah,
Luscious locks.
Dan has, that he has the flowing locks, as you said. He has the. I'll show my age again, John. Going and you'll recognize. He has the Fabian look.
Wow, man, we are old as hell.
Or Fabio. What was it? Fabio.
Fabio. Yes, Fabio. Yeah. Fabio. Wow. She wants to know when she meeting us. Well, Task can't leave America, so everyone's got to come see Task. How about that?
Yeah, Task leaves America. Task might not get back in America, which at some point in my future may be okay. I mean, I may bail on this quagmire, but we were talking about, what was it, about a week ago? Maybe we were talking Tuesday or Thursday. I don't remember, but we really need to, after the first of the year, start pushing to have a Leo Palooza or Leo Fest or Leo Gallo or Leo something or other. And, I think because I think outside of Nigeria and Venezuela, I think there are a lot of, I think Leo has more. We don't seem to have a lot of Europeans on Leo. I think we got more North Americans. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. Outside of like Venezuela and Nigeria, it's big chunk of it is North America.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the case with Hive because there's a nice representation on Hive of Europeans. I just don't think they're on Leo.
Right. And in Asia too, I mean.
Yeah, I mean we have some Asians on Hive too. There's some from Malaysia and stuff. I mean on Leo, but yeah, I mean it's I don't know. Some point John Go and I will be met in person. Well, John Go's been met in person. He was at a Hive Fest, so some people around know he's a person, but
I'm a real person, not an AI bot. Promise.
Yeah, there's still questions about me, but that's okay.
Max Headroom, man. Forex broker, yes, Task sets the baseline. It lets us see how much we make and how many more views we need to make a difference to price.
Yeah. See, another thing, and Forex broker and I have talked about this in threads and stuff in the past, is once you start to get these numbers, and no matter what they are, then you can start to apply valuations to what's going on. And of course, valuation models, there's a lot of different approaches, different ways you can do that. But at least you can start to get some ballpark and some numbers and say, okay, if you bring in, I'll just make up a number, $3,000 a month. Well, now you got $3,000 a month in, HP delegation, in premium subscriptions and ad revenue. So now you have $3,000. That's your base starting point. Now you can extrapolate that over the course of a year. You can try to figure out, okay, we'll use a stock term, a little P&E. What is that going to apply to? What type of growth rate are you looking at? Now you can start to get some idea of where numbers are. Right now, we're just all closing our eyes saying, what's this thing worth? Who the hell knows? And yeah, you start looking at clicks. There's models out there of, how many, what each page view is worth, or what each monthly active users worth on a social media network. You can start to divide your monthly active users into your revenue and say, okay, well, if we have 1,500 monthly active users, we're bringing in $3,000. Okay, each monthly active user is worth $2. Well, then if we get 5,000, we should be bringing in 10 grand. But of course, then odds are you're probably going to be higher than $2 if you have 5,000 users versus 1,500. Maybe it's 250. So now you bring in 1,250. You can start running those different models and giving yourself some idea of different targets. But without any numbers, we're all just sitting there saying, okay.
Well, it also gamifies it for the users. You'll want to use it more. You'll want to spread it more. You'll want to talk about it more. Because if you see the numbers going up, guess what? You have a vested interest in seeing those numbers going up. So
yeah, I feel tomorrow is an important day. I'll tell you the second important day. Probably more important than tomorrow, but you don't get to the second day without getting through tomorrow.
Payout day.
Exactly. I don't care what the number is. I don't care what somebody gets. If somebody gets 0.1 Leo from the ad revenue, from the community pool, not from their evergreen stuff, but just from the ad revenue. All of a sudden, if we have, I'll just pick a day, December 2nd payout day, and all of a sudden people are getting 0.1 or 0.08 or 0.25 or 3 Leo or whatever they get, that will be the talk. And you know what? I think that's really when it becomes real, that it's like, hold on a second. There's a model here that I got Leo power. I've been curating. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I've been doing my LPUDs. And because of that, I got three more Leo for doing nothing, just holding it. Maybe if I go buy more Leo and if I start adding more to it, that I think is when it'll click on people. So again, all of these are setting baselines that we can start to grow from. But it's also given those of us who want to sit there with a pen and a piece of paper or a calculator or whatever, the opportunity to start designing models and running some of these models to sit here and say, okay, this is realistically what we can look at in a year based upon where we stand now. And if we have, if we double our user base over the next 12 months, this is where we'll be. And then you can start getting into the gamification. Then you can start getting into adding new features. Then you can start to get into different things taking root, shorts. Let's say if they add that, how much value does that add? How many pages does that add? Then you start looking at adding ads into the shorts. What's a short? Maybe a minute, 45 seconds to a minute. What if you have a 5-second video at the start of the short? How much does that pay? These are all things that then you start to get into what I was saying before, the exponentiality. Not only is it exponential in everything we do, it's exponential in everything they design. Because think about it, HP, delegation, premium, and now we're getting ad revenue. There's 3 things that we're adding in the last 4 or 5 months. And all of them compound each other and complement each other. Mm-hmm. And again, the numbers may be for shit now. That's okay. The system is in place. That part of the tokenomics is in place. So if it's doing anything, that's helping. And so then it just becomes a question of expanding upon that. And what if we add a 4th model and then a 5th model, then a stream. 4th stream, 5th stream, 6th stream. Then we all of a sudden have 6 streams, and then we start adding. We keep growing each of the individual streams. Next thing you know, it's eating up all the inflation and all of the sell pressures, and that's how you get the token moving the other way. Plus, then you excite other people, and all of a sudden, Django's not the only one buying Leo every day. All of a sudden, there's 5 other people joining them.
Freaking degenerate, man. That's what I am. It's almost like that blog post I made yesterday about multiple revenue streams. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Everyone should read that. Next up, Forex wants to know why it shows 0 viewers, even though he's viewing on Twitter. It's because Twitter is still centralized, and they do what they're going to do. But speaking of Twitter, Neo, I put Neo. Said Neo. Sorry, Nifty. It's the ends. Nifty put out a reminder for the Twitter space tomorrow. You guys can check it on the Threadcast there. Forex gave a peace sign. I don't know if that's he's mad and he left, or he's just like or making fun of his time zone or something. I'm not sure. Free Compliment said, even though I've already voted for your witness, he'll still accept bribes. Perfect. We are not below that or above that. Excuse me. We give bribes for everything. I give bribes for signing up to our mailing list.
We'll contact One Alpha. Did you see what One Alpha did yesterday?
No, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He
has like a trillion or a billion or a gazillion or a quadrillion bits.
The Miko stuff. Yeah.
Bit MYK, Bitcoin MYK. And, he said if you I don't even remember, but if you comment on his thing
you want free crypto.
He'll send you 1 million of them.
Yeah.
He was just giving this stuff away. And Bitcoin MIC or whatever. It's.
Aloha Ed says this would be another good use for the HDF to develop sustainable documentation if it's lacking, so that we could attract additional developers. I think the developers just go where the money is right now. If money starts flowing into Hive, now that's the chicken or the egg situation. People will develop because apparently you don't need to know Solidity to code here. You just need some good old JavaScript and some PHP and call it a day or whatever.
Is you're not going to attract developers without smart contracts.
Yeah,
you're just not. Not people who want to build. And so between VSC and half, hopefully we will have over the next year some tools. By the way, did you see Urasol's post yesterday?
No.
I put it on Threads. Urasol evidently. Remember, we were talking to Block Trades after one of the shows a long time ago. And it actually may not have been the last time he was on. It may have actually been the time before that. But we were talking to him. He was talking about this building a reputation
thing. Right. Yeah.
Well, he has a website up. And evidently, how he found it, I don't know. Urasol found it. And he found it before HiveFest because he mentioned, I didn't know Urasol was at HiveFest, but he mentioned it to Block Trades, and Block Trades was surprised he found it. But there's a website that is set up, and evidently there's a chance, based upon what the website said, there may be a protocol delivered by the end of the year that applications can integrate or start to integrate that are part of this decentralized reputation system that Block Trades was talking about, and then, building it out and expanding upon it next year. So there really is something else pretty major that could be brewing in terms of the whole premise is for expertise. And how do you know somebody is an expert? Well, somebody is an expert in the sense that I say Django is an expert at affiliate marketing. So that helps give some credibility to Django as an affiliate marketer. Now, if I and 25,000 other people say that really adds credibility. Now, if Django says that he's a hell of an affiliate marketer and nobody else agrees with him, well, now you kind of see where his reputation is lacking. And, that could be applied to, from what I'm understanding, to anything. And the way and the way Block Trades set this up, from what I understand, is he basically thought through how we validate things in our mind. and how we validate things socially,
Hmm.
and how people assemble around expertise. And when you look at the assembly of people, even in the digital realm, around an idea, around an individual, around an individual's intelligence, uh, can he model that in a systemic form? And can he write software to mirror that? And that's what he's one of the things that him and his team have been working on. He set up a whole nonprofit to do this, and it's an open source software development initiative. Uh, but it's pretty interesting to see some of that come to light. So, if you are a hyphen soul or a soul, um, check out his profile and give that a look if you haven't had a chance. And we may be hearing something about that in the next few weeks or next couple months.
Nice. There you go, man. We got through it. Again, shameless self-promotion. You guys make sure you stop by tomorrow on Twitter X for the town hall number 2, the second town hall. It will be at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I have no idea what time that is around the world. Google University is your friend. But make sure you check it out. And all like Tass was saying, a bunch of the apps, if not pretty much every single app on Hive, will be represented there. We're excited for it. We're looking forward to it. Bringing people together. That's what Hive is about. That's what this blockchain is about. And that's what I think highlights. Rich puts UTC -5. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
UTC, GMT. What
I
the
can't keep
fuck?
up, dude. I'm in my own little bubble. Yeah.
I just try to figure out where I'm at and where Django is, so then I can figure out, okay,
Yeah.
what time are we talking? If he says, hey, can we do it at 6 my time? Okay, what's that equal my time?
Yeah.
But he's actually kind enough that he usually gives it to me.
I've
operated
in Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Time for my entire career, except when I got started. Me and Rich were on Perth, Australia time, so that was a whole other story.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? And it makes sense. But in North America, most everything standardizes to Eastern time. Well, because the East Coast is where the population is in many areas, and a lot of your, look at your stock exchanges. I mean, a lot of them are Eastern time.
Guys, you have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow bright and early for the town hall meeting. Have a great night. Toodles.
Ciao.